Hello, I am Judah Bernard with the Rise Creating Your Voice podcast. I am the wisdom dialoguer and the motivational warrior of the Rise Creating Your Voice podcast, and I am the dialogue coach for the Rise. Welcome and happy Sunday with Sunday Jewels on the Rise. I'm waiting for my co-host to come in. How's everybody doing today? It is a great Sunday to be alive. It's a great Sunday to be alive. It's a great Sunday to be alive. It's a great Sunday to be alive. We're going to be talking about It's Complicated. Let's talk boundaries. How are you doing, Candace? How are you doing, Dennis, in 2016? I see our co-host came in and joined in, so it's a comfortable day for me because we're going to set boundaries today. We're going to learn how to set boundaries, okay? That's a good way to do it. Trying to come in. So our co-host is coming in right now. Rhonda, Jewels Mentoring LLC. How you
Hey,
doing, people? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing?
I'm good. How are
We should be
you?
today. It's a couple of birthdays in this month, and there's other things going on too as well. So we're excited about today because we are talking about complicated. It's complicated. It's complicated. It's complicated. Let's talk about boundaries. Rhonda, are you there? Hello? I don't know where it's going. Okay, we're there. There you go.
Yep, my Wi-Fi didn't connect. I'm sorry.
I was sitting there like it stopped and it kept going. So, what do we have to say about today's topic?
Today's topic for me is very important. Especially the setting boundaries, because sometimes when we're so overloaded with things and we have this complexity that I'm so strong and I can handle it, we don't a lot of times tell people no when we really need to say no. And so today's topic is not only something that I need, but I know a lot of other people need it, because we need to be able to understand our capacity and things that we can and we can't take. And so, yeah, it's complicated, or, is it our boundaries? Because we really need to focus on boundaries and making sure that we are not overloading ourselves with things that we should be overloading ourselves with, because we're not meant to take on more than we are able to hold.
And I understand you're saying setting boundaries because the one thing is that you become overloaded and things
Mm-hmm.
may be in the way, hasn't set a tone for the atmosphere. That's one thing that I like to say is actually setting a tone. Because the number one thing, setting boundaries, you don't set the tone and put out your expectations. Some things may be blurred lines in doing it, and some communication errors may seem to happen. So I think for me, the biggest problem, it's not a problem, but is the other person going to accept your boundaries?
Well, that's the thing that you have to realize, is that if they really are there for you and they care about you, then they're going to be willing to do what they can to stick by you and understand it. It's nothing personal towards them, but this is something that you need for yourself. Now, if you get with somebody, a friend or a relationship, and they don't understand it, and then they try to make it about them, then maybe you need to reconsider the relationship or the connection that you have with them. Because someone that's for you is going to be willing to be selfish enough to let you have those moments. And when they're not, then maybe we need to look at another situation, another way. For me, because of, and one thing I've learned too about me is that I have a giving spirit, and I just want to see people make it. Like, I to see someone succeed or to see someone make it, it's in me. Like, I can't control it. I just want to give, but I also notice in giving that people can't take advantage of that. And then you have to understand the heart that you have. Everybody don't have that heart. And so you're going to have to learn to put in boundaries, because if you don't, then people who are manipulative or being them so you can keep giving because they know that that's who you are. And once you take those things away from them, then you're going to see, is these people really for me, or is they after what I have to give? And then once you see that they're not for you, it's only what you have to give, then it'll be easy for you to walk away from it.
So let's
Well,
talk
not
about.
always be easy.
Go ahead.
I said not always be easy, but eventually you'll come adjust to, letting people go who only want the benefit of you and not actually you.
Right. So let's definitely bring somebody on the stage and see what they have to say too as well.
Okay.
Bring somebody on the stage. Being that, what are those boundaries that you set? So come on in and let us hear from you. If you want to come on the stage, what does that look like for you? What are those boundaries? What are those boundaries? Set some boundaries. Let's start talking about boundaries. Let's start talking about boundaries, because this is an important thing that we should be setting boundaries in order for you to understand. Number one, even in your family, setting boundaries.
Ooh,
Let's say
yeah.
the woman needs to let go of. There we go with this hate stuff. We're not doing that. We have to understand that this is a positive zone, and that's all we need is a positive information, and as we continue on. So one thing is, when you set boundaries, what do you need? What does that look like to you? Come on board, and if you want to talk about it, definitely come on board so we can hear what we're talking about. They said some of you guys are unable to join, but you're asking to come on the actual thing. So make sure you click on once we invite you on the stage. So understand what that means. What does that look like for you when you're looking at setting boundaries? What does that look like? Are you going in with the truth and the intent of telling the truth and nothing but the truth? And this is how I feel?
Um, you can't base everything on feelings. Even though feelings are yours and they are valid, you can't base everything on feelings, because sometimes just because you feel a certain way don't mean it's truth. So you have to have a balance of logic and emotions to try to navigate through what is you and what is actually the other person. So sometimes how I have learned to set boundaries is, when something affects me or hurts me, I had to sit with myself and say, Rhonda, is this just you feeling this way, or is this actually happening? Is the person? And so once, if I see that it's me, then I'm able to navigate through it to work through what I'm, why I'm feeling that way. But then when I realize, no, it's not me, it's the person, then I have to sit, because you don't want to go to someone in a defensive or argumentative way. You really want them to understand your point of view of where things are going. And so you have to be prepared when you go to them with the facts and let them know that this is what I'm seeing and this is what happening, and I don't like this, so from now on I have to do XYZ. And so, and if they get angry, then you really gonna know that it's not you. But then you get to make a decision whether you stay in the situation or not. And most of the time when it's not beneficial to you and you just constantly giving, then you're going to give out anyway and be ready to leave. So, but a conversation needs to be had, because you don't need to just walk away because you're tired or whatever. They need to understand why you're doing and saying what you're doing and saying. So communication is key.
So I think the part is the communication part. How do we communicate that? How do we communicate? Because if someone has a separate intention of what you're doing, how do you communicate that boundary?
You just got to be honest with where you are and explain why you feel the way you feel. And people may not understand it. So you're going to have to get the understanding as to why you feel that way, to try to communicate that to someone else. And that goes back to what we've been talking about from day one: self-reflection and self-evaluation, to get an idea of why I'm feeling this way. And once you get that idea, you have to be honest in all of it so they can understand.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
No speak English.
Oh, you don't speak English. Where are you
My
from?
Irani هستیم. Iran.
Elon?
آره.
Okay.
Yes. من از ایران.
Yes, yes. All the way from Elon. I don't know what that is, but hey, we have people from across the countries coming in today.
I see.
So go right ahead.
Who,
How
me?
are we looking at? Yes. We have with Pyrofa. They don't speak English. Are you there?
I'm here. I'm reading the
Okay.
stuff. Yeah, I'm here. But yeah, I was just saying that you have to have honest communication, because like we
So as we continue on, and because I know the co-host Wi-Fi is acting up, we want to make sure that we are having this information and this dialogue with what is going on, or is it's complicated in setting boundaries.
say that again. Is that I'm here.
Yeah, because it's not coming. It's not coming out. Your Wi-Fi is steady rotating. Are you there? Hi, how are you?
How are you? I am fine.
Where are you from?
No English. I am India, only Hindi.
You're in India? You speak no English.
Only Hindi, no English.
What's your name? What's your name?
Name, Salman.
Nim, okay, well, thank you for joining. We would love to ask you a question, but I mean, you have limited English. So we can't ask you the question, okay? And thanks for joining, okay? All the way from India, all the way from India.
Very good, no English, no. Only
Yes, yes. See, we have people from India, and I don't think we speak Indian. So we got to make sure that we able to have the listeners coming in too as well.
So
So I think,
Judah, can you hear me?
yes, I can.
Okay. So with us dealing with the boundaries, what are some things that you do to make sure that you have healthy boundaries with people?
I think what we have to understand is you got to communicate correctly, and you got to
Hello,
understand. Hi,
hello,
how are
hello,
you?
hello. What is your name?
What is your name? You're on here. You're on the Rise, Create Your Voice Sunday Jewels on the Rise. What is your name?
My name is Salam Barreto, and you?
And where are you from?
I am from Colombia.
Colombia. How are you?
Good.
Okay, I'm Judah, and that's Rhonda over to your left. It's complicated. How do you set boundaries? Do you know how do you set boundaries?
No, not English. Speak English.
Oh, you don't speak English. Well, thank you for joining all the way from Colombia.
Okay.
Thank you, Alan.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
What else do we have coming on? So something why we set boundaries is to gain an understanding. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you need to set boundaries before you set boundaries. One thing talk about that is we have to understand what setting boundaries mean. Say for instance, if you're in a conversation that may be a conversation that may be heated, setting the boundaries before you have that conversation. That we're not going to argue, or we're not going to be upset with each other. And if I or you feel that you're getting upset, I can either tell you how I feel about you may have your voice or your tone may rise, or my voice or tone may rise, and it's still our perception, but we recognize that and acknowledge it, and we make sure that we have like a 5-second, 10-second break in order so we can communicate. Another way I've set the boundaries is actually writing down the stuff on a notepad before we discuss it. That's setting boundaries. Learn how to say no.
Oh yes, that's a big one.
And I think the biggest problem people have in a lot of situations is they don't know how to say no, being that if it's a father or a parental figure, a partner, a spouse, or somebody that you really enjoy being around, and you know that they are abusing you or abusing their privilege in you, and then you don't know how to say no because you've been encapsulated in this relationship or this situationship for a long time. So how do you communicate that if you have not communicated that with them from the beginning?
That's true.
So I think what we still have to understand in a relationship, and most times people don't discuss things like this starting a relationship. You go into it, and then guess what? Feelings start happening. Things start getting emotional. Everybody's brain is running crazy because number one is only thing we're doing is feeling and emotion and emoting. Then on top of that, everybody want to pull back after the fact, and now we want to set boundaries. Why could we not? Why didn't we have that conversation beforehand?
Because I think a lot of people don't have a conversation beforehand. For one, the fear of losing the person, and they are afraid that if I tell them this, and they won't want me anymore, or the relationship will end. And sometimes, individuals want the relationship more than anything, and so they're going to do what they can to maintain it, not understanding that the foundation is very important in a relationship. Because, like you have told me, the way it starts is the way that it's going to progress to be. And so once you get to the place of where you're ready to share that, the people may not want that. But in the beginning, when you set those boundaries, then that's going to give an indication if you want to remain in it or not, because those boundaries is going to determine what type of relationship this is going to be, and if it's what you want in your life and what it's not. For instance, if someone is, have high religious, and there's someone else that's not religious or whatever, you can't hide those type of things in the beginning of the relationship, because you can't wait till you 5 years in and you say, well, oh, I want you to go to church. No, I don't go to church. So it's just those. I do agree that the foundation and the boundaries that you put out need to happen in the beginning. It's very, very important. I had to learn it the hard way.
Yes. And what's the hard way? Because the thing is, at the end of the day, we are all adults, but I think what we have to understand that we all came from separate households. Nobody grew up in the same household, especially when you're relating and things like that. Even within family situations, we understand that you might be a caretaker or something that was relevant in the family. But then again, when you've had enough, you've had enough. How do you pull back on some of the things and say, look, I'm tired, or I don't want to go through this stuff that I've been going through before? I think the biggest problem is most people do not know how to pull back after they've gone so far. Most people don't know how to pull back.
They don't know how to pull back, and the only way that you're going to be able to pull back is when you understand your worth and your value. And again, that goes back to self-development and self-reflection, and understanding that you don't have to settle. And I think so many times people settle because it's okay, or it's decent, or I can manage it, but it's really not what you want. And so you begin to settle, and because you think that that's just what you're worth. But you have to grow and know yourself enough to understand that I deserve what I desire, and I deserve, what I want, and I don't have to begin to
And that's totally
realize that
agreeable
I'm
that
not
you deserve.
happy, and they can.
And I totally agree with that. But understanding that number one thing is, how does that relate to the next move that you make? Because now, if I'm hearing later on that realize that I'm not happy, I think for me, I would know from the person that you're telling that to is, what made you unhappy now that you were so into it and all to it before?
Because before I was in a different mindset, maybe, and I didn't understand that I went in. It's like you went in it on a lie. If that makes sense.
And
I
that's what
wasn't
I
truthful.
started out, because I think one
Yeah.
thing, a lot of things we just go in just with a big lie
Yeah.
and expectations, and nobody tell their expectation. Nobody talk about what they really want to grasp out of this.
Yep. And
Because
so,
somebody is hurt because nobody communicated.
mm-hmm.
But then the other person want to hold the other person accountable. So
Yep.
who's accountable? Everybody's accountable, because
Everybody.
nobody conversed or conversated on the communication on what they're supposed to be. How does
Yep.
that for everybody?
Yeah. And the thing about it, we're in a generation now that doesn't communicate.
Yes.
Not good anyway. You know, we're in a generation where text messages is communication, inboxes or whatever, and
Right.
so a lot of things are based on those things and not communication, because it's so much easier to hide behind those things and not face to face truth with people. Because when you are face to face with people, you get to see their nonverbals as well
Yeah.
as their verbals,
They're
and so
verbal.
you kind of pick up if this is, if they telling me the truth, if they lying to me. You may not can tell all, but their nonverbals speak just as loud as their verbals. And
Right.
so you're going to have to be able to have those face-to-face and one-on-one communications and talks to understand, more in depth of what's really going on, and if that's really what you want. So, effective communication, in which, and not just that, comprehension. So you got to be able to explain why you feel the way you feel, because some people may not understand that you feel this way because of X, Y, Z, or this happened in my past. So you need to explain, I feel this way because such and such happened in my life. And so now I have trust issues, or it's hard for me to communicate because before, when I communicated, I was shut down. So it's just a lot that you just have to go through.
And in that light, how can we start communicating effectively now? Now that we have this information, number one, how to set boundaries. And I think we need to still touch on how to set boundaries. What does that look like? How do we start looking at the whole aspect of setting boundaries?
I think for me personally is that for me, I'm going to have to weigh myself and see, Rhonda, do you have the time or the capacity to handle the request that's made for you? And I'm learning, when I'm going through something, we typically put our stuff to the side and try to run to somebody that's rescue. And so for me, my thing is, I'm going to have to look at myself. It's kind of like when you're doing an investment, you're going to do research of that investment before you put your money in it. So now I'm going to do research of myself, my mental, my emotion, my physical, and I'm going to see, do I have the capacity to handle what they're asking me? And if I don't have the capacity to handle it, then my answer will be no. I want to do it, but right now I just can't. And I'm realizing that is okay for you not to be able to be there for everybody, especially when it's taking you down a road that you know that you don't want to go down, and not settling and just doing things just because you have a good heart. Because
And
sometimes you have to balance that.
go ahead.
I'm just
I
saying, you
like
have to
how you start.
balance.
Right. So I like how you started out. So the thing is, what we have to understand first, you all have to assess. And assess yourself. If somebody come with you with a issue or some type of problem or trying to go into a situationship, you have to assess everything, every piece of it. What are they in it for? Why are they coming to me? what it said to me, are we able to really communicate what we need? And if that person is not a good communicator and you are a good communicator, that might not be a win-win for you guys, correct?
Yeah, it may not be unless you can communicate so well that you can get them to understand it through giving them metaphors or something like that to just try to help them understand what you're saying. Because sometimes you can have communication with people and they truly don't get it. And so you have to find other ways to help them understand what you're saying. And maybe you have to find an interest that they like and say and try to, relate what you're saying to their interest or something. But that's only if you choose to do things like that, because some people don't want to, dig deep into things like that. So you just have to do the best you can. But in everything, at least try to get the person to understand where you are and why you're setting these boundaries. Because a lot of people, and even if they try to break the boundary, you got to hold fast to what you're saying. I told you that this is not what I want. I told you that this cannot happen. So stop asking me when I already told you my answer is no. Because some people don't even take your no for real, especially if you're the type of person in the past that has overrode what you said and did it anyway. A lot of people don't listen to you when you say no, and they try to make it about play victim and make you feel bad to keep doing it. And so you really have to stay with it. My answer is no. I'm not doing it.
Derek said inventory of oneself. So I totally get. Let's talk more about that, St. Derek. Let's talk more about that. Inventory of oneself. Inventory of oneself. And the thing is, I want people to understand this, because I've known some of my clients that have come to me, but they're already in another relationship, but trying to talk to somebody else. Set a boundary with that other person that you already married and things like that, and you're trying to set a boundary with your side piece. You can't set a boundary. You're already wrong. So I think you have to understand, do a self-assessment. And what does that self-assessment look specifically just for you, and what situation that you're already in?
The boundary.
A lot of people want to set boundaries, but then again, they have boundaries within themselves, and they set those boundaries because some of those boundaries does not condone some of the things that they're already doing.
Is that fair to the other person, though?
No, it's not. So the thing is, I tell people, number one is setting boundaries should always include who you are. And if your junk is bad, how can you set boundaries?
That's true. I can see that, because you have to be sure that those boundaries are in reach for yourself, and if you have to be doing it for yourself. If you expect somebody else to do it for you, you can't have a boundary of you gonna have to give me 18 hours a day, and you know that you ain't giving yourself this. So yeah, I understand things like that, but again, it goes to you being authentic and truthful with where you are when you set these boundaries. And don't set boundaries just to play games with people either, just to see what you can get.
And I think what we have to understand in setting those boundaries is make them measurable. Don't be setting boundaries you won't be able to do either.
True.
So I think some people set boundaries in order to see where it's going and things like that, but make those measurable. As far as, I will call you 2 or 3 times a day if that's a boundary you want to set. Or I will do this once a week. Now, if you're not able to reciprocate it, why set that boundary?
Because sometimes it's like a game of control and trying to get what you want.
But I'm trying to reciprocate to also look, will you be able to do this boundary too? And I think most people have to understand that.
And that's where you have to understand that when you're setting these boundaries, that there's going to be a level of reciprocity in them as well. So you can't be relationship with a friend or a significant other and accept and want these boundaries that you're not going to reciprocate. Out your boundaries, they also can give out their boundaries, and you have to reciprocate the same things.
Trying to get some more people on here right quick while we keep going and knowing how do people say, hello, how are you?
Hello, hello.
What is your name?
No English, Arabic.
No English? Where are you from?
From Libya.
Libya. Well, thank you for joining in, okay? Thank you. All the way from Libya, no English.
No.
So we got people coming in and off from all over the country. This is amazing. Can we get English speaking people in here?
I guess none of English speaking people want to join tonight.
I guess they're gonna come in. We need some English speaking people. Make sure when you press the button that you can speak English. Okay. Hi,
Yo.
how are you?
I'm good. I speak English, yeah?
Okay, great. Where are you from?
I'm from the UK.
Hey, how are you? What's your name?
I'm Ryan. What's your name?
Ryan?
Yeah.
Welcome, Ryan. It's complicated. That's the topic today. How do you set boundaries?
Boundaries. I feel like respect should be mutual, you know?
Yes.
And
Yes.
and when you set boundaries, give someone like 3 chances. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Okay. Give him 3 chances. Well, definitely, you heard it from Ryan. If you want to set boundaries with him, he's going to give you 3 chances. All the way from okay.
Yes, sir.
Go and follow Ryan. What's your Instagram?
Just my name, R1. Well, let me see.
All one. Ryan.
R1YAN._. Yeah.
Okay. So go and follow Ryan all the way from the UK. And Ryan, thank you for joining on, okay?
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
You're
Love.
welcome. See, we have Ryan all the way from the UK. Come on in. We want to hear from other people because we just want you to know that in Mississippi and DC that other people need to set boundaries too. And as you see in UK, need to set boundaries. Oh, my brother Ryan said he'll give you 3 chances.
3 chances.
I love it.
And I can agree to that.
Huh?
I can agree to that because
Hey, I don't got 3 chances. I'm getting too old for 3. I might give you 1.5.
Oh wow. I can understand 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree with 3. Give them 3 chances, but then again, are you going to be tired once you get that 3rd chance?
It just depends on the person. You know, some people are.
At 33371, we can't see you. I don't see you in here. So we would have added you, but I don't see you. You gotta push the button. You have to push the button to come in. Thank you, Ryan, for jumping in. Hello, how are you? What is your name?
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Sarah.
You Sarah?
I can't show my whole face because of my country's rules, you know.
Oh, I understand.
I live in Iran.
Where are you from?
I live in Iran.
You're wrong.
Persian country.
Okay.
Iran.
Iran. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Now, where is that near?
It's near to, I don't know, Turkey.
Okay, Turkey. Okay, great. Great. See, we got people all the way in that region, in the Turkish region. So go ahead.
Yeah.
It's complicated. How do you set boundaries?
Can you explain it? Because I couldn't understand it. What do you mean?
Setting boundaries is something like you want somebody to do something for you and they don't want to like do it, but then again, you either in a relationship, it could be a family member, it could be anybody that you want to just make sure that you get your point across to. And that's what we mean by setting boundaries.
Okay. You know, I will never do it because, or ask it because people have choices and they can, you know, reject that to helping us, and I don't have right to ask them and force them to do this because it's not fair. And if they don't want to do this, and I can't push them, you know, I can't force them.
I like the way you said that. I like that. I really do, because basically we do understand that you can't force anybody to do something, but do you find yourself getting hurt when you don't have boundaries?
It is my duty to put myself together, and it is my duty to find my own way and, you know, help myself.
I love it.
As I don't care about other people, I don't expect them to care about me.
Oh,
you know?
I love it. I love it. That's moving forward. And I think we have to understand that once we have things like this and we start paving the way, and I'm glad you came on board to even talk about this.
Thank you.
That set a new precedence for, number one, that why do we care about what other people do? Because people are people.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Thank you for coming on all the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Perspective, because some people don't think like that. Some people put all their eggs in the basket and think that somebody's supposed to take the eggs out the basket for them. But thank you for that, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
It is.
See, we had her on saying, you know, hey, you got to think about that. Why care so much? Why can't you set up your own thing?
So is it that you don't care? I mean, I understand what she said, but setting boundaries is really not for the other person. It's for you, so you can have what you need, in a sense. Not always what you want, but what you need. Sometimes what you want too.
It's still her opinion. If that's the way
it is,
and that's making her go through, hey, more power to her. More power.
I understand. I understand. But boundaries need to be set so you don't have expectations in things. Well, for me, expectations in things that you know that you possibly.
How we doing? How we doing? What's your name? Hello?
Hello.
What's your name?
Hello.
Hello.
Durut. What is name Durut?
All right. Thank you for coming in.
Where are you from?
Thank you for joining in. Thank you for joining in. We're going to bring somebody else on. But boundaries are important. Boundaries are important, but hi, how are you? Where are you from?
Hello, Ruth.
Hello?
Hello, Ruth.
All right. I guess we got a lot of people that want to just come on and laugh. Oh. I hope not. So we wanted to continue moving. Some of the boundaries we should do is be setting. Always setting boundaries. But then again, like the young lady stated before, she don't want to set boundaries because she has provided for her future. So she really don't care what other people say or what other people do, as long as she knows what she set the path for her future. And that's doing a heavy assessment of herself. And I thank her for coming on and saying that. Yes, definitely. Anybody else? We have questions? Any questions? Any comments? We're going to bring on Boxer Boy. Hi, how are you?
Hey, bro, how are you? What's up? What you crack?
No, where are you from?
I'm from Cover.
Kava?
Cover.
Kaba.
Yeah.
Okay, where is that?
I'm living now in Ireland. You where are you living?
In
Where are-
England. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, how are you?
Okay, I'm well. What brings you on?
They're talking she.
Okay, no, we're not doing that. Oh Lord.
He said he
What-
talking to she.
Everybody wants something to say today. Glad you guys joining, but let's keep it positive over here, okay? Very positive. We have about 11 people trying to come on. Let's keep it positive, but also be English too as well, because we need English speaking people. Okay? We're going to end it in a second, so come on when you need to.
Somebody else coming on.
Oh. Hello. Hello, what's your name?
Hi.
How are you?
Bye. قررتش
What's your name?
خرطان.
Hassan. And where are you from?
From Kurdish.
Kurdish. Where's that?
خودم کردی دیدار.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi
Where's
Binu.
Kurdish?
علوق.
Okay.
مريشك.
If we don't know where Kurdish is, we got to keep moving. I think everybody gets shell shocked when they come on stage and start laughing. Is that what they do? we have more conversation. We want to have more conversation. We want to have more conversation. Are we ready for the conversation? Okay. This is our last one we're going to bring on. Hey, how are you? What is your name? Hello? Are you there? Okay, great. So as we're ending on today, thank everyone for joining today. It was a great time here as we learn how to set boundaries. Also, setting boundaries, meaning that, like the young lady said, you don't necessarily have to set boundaries as long as you know who you are and what you have for your future. But then again, what do you need to set those boundaries? You need to definitely assess yourself, like the young lady said. Assess that you are able to set boundaries. Number one is acknowledge that you want to set boundaries. The other person got to know you're setting boundaries. You just can't go into conversation saying, oh, by the way, I want to set these boundaries. How about we set boundaries with no expectation in order to avoid disappointment? I like that. I like that. I'm sorry I haven't been able to read some of the comments because this thing getting out of control over here. But we have to understand that we have to learn how to set boundaries. If it doesn't work out for you, start asking questions in order to lead to setting those boundaries. What else do you have before we leave today on today, Rhonda?
I just want to say that boundaries for me is important. And it's also important for people who have high level of expectations in people. You need to have those conversations to see if you're on the same page. Because just because someone treats you a certain way doesn't mean that you have all the answers for what they feel or what they think. Conversations need to be held to set those limits and those boundaries, because you can be in a relationship for 5 years and it never go nowhere. And why I don't never go nowhere is because boundaries wasn't set and communication was never had to discuss where these things are going. So boundaries just is not for play. It's for you to have an expectation in where things are going. If you know you want to be a wife, then you don't need to be a side chick for 20 years. Or not even that, or just a sneaky link for 20 years. But if that man only wants a sneaky link and emotional sex, then that's what you're going to be. But how would you know that if those conversations and boundaries are not set up front. If you know you want to be a wife, then that needs to be the first conversation y'all have when y'all meet. I'm not dating to just date or be a sneaky link. I'm dating because I want to be a wife. And that's going to determine if that person stays or if that person goes. But either way, you're going to be okay.
And so what does that mean? And I'm going to bring Charlie Burke on. Charlie Burke said they're a massive fan. Must be for you.
Huh?
They said they're a massive. Charlie, how are you? Hello? Can't hear you. Where are you from?
They went off.
Oh. Well, they said massive fan. They wanted to join. I guess when they came on board, they didn't want to join no more. So don't say you're a massive fan, then leave when we bring you up. Not a good massive fan.
Yeah, my lighting today is awful too.
We're going to try it again today. And this is going to be our last one because basically we want to hear from everybody. Charlie?
Hiya. Hello, yes, I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm a massive fan.
Oh, thank you. So
Yeah.
question. Number one is, it's complicated. How do you set boundaries?
How do I set boundaries? Usually my daddy sets me my boundaries because like he knows, like my daddy knows if I'm like misbehaving, he like puts boundaries on me and it really sets me in place, you know?
Okay. So, but those are still like rules, right?
Yeah.
And then again, you have to abide by those rules, right?
Yes.
And if
Yes,
you
sir.
don't abide by those rules, what usually happens?
I usually get smacked or like punished.
Yeah. And that's what happens. And some people have to understand, even outside of that even in that parental relationship and things like that too as well, there are boundaries that have to be set. You can't do everything you do out in the street in front of your family, right?
No.
Okay, great. So I totally agree. So obey your parents, children, obey your parents. Thank you. And what's your name?
Charlie.
And thank you for joining. And where are you from, Charlie?
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Great. Make sure you watch us every Sunday and bring your friends on too, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right, you. And thank you for being a fan.
I know, right?
Exactly. A massive fan. We love our massive fans. Any other questions? Any other questions? We got one more that we're going to bring on and we'll be done. Angelina Montez. Obey your parents. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Hey, how old are you?
8.
8? Oh my gosh. What is your name?
Carlos.
Cartwell?
Carlos.
Caleb?
Carlos.
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 Oh, where are you from, Carlos?
Washington.
Washington State?
He's from Washington.
No, yeah, you're Washington State.
Okay, that's what I said, Washington State. What brings you on? Where's your parent? Where's your parent?
Asleep.
Oh. You don't lie. Well, we
I'm
thank
on my sister's phone.
Okay?
I'm on my sister's phone.
Okay, we thank you for joining, okay? Can you say hello to the people?
Hello.
Say hello, everyone.
Hello. Follow him and hit the plus.
Okay. So much. He said hit the plug.
He said follow him, hit the plus.
Okay, hit the plus, okay. I love Carlos trying to get some followers. We're going to get one more person, Lolita Forever. Lolita Forever, then we will be done for today. Thank everyone for... Hi, Lolita. How are you?
Hi, guys. How are you this evening?
What is your? Well, we assume your name is Lolita, huh?
It is.
Okay.
It is. I am originally from Texas. I live now in Utah.
Okay.
Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Okay, great. It's complicated. How
I
do
hear.
boundaries?
I hear. It is complicated. I feel like this is a serious question and a serious issue, that because there is people out there that really, really are in a situation and they really need some serious answers.
Yes.
So with that being said, I feel like you have to be honest up front from the beginning. That is no other way to put it. Don't beat around the bush, and you just have to be upfront and be serious about what you want, and not be afraid to let that person know, hey, this is what I want.
Yes.
So, like, I'm sorry, what's her name?
Rhonda.
Rhonda. Hi, Rhonda.
Hey.
Like Rhonda was saying, you know, and also like you were saying, hey, I don't have time. You know, I'm older, more mature. I don't have time to waste and play games. So you want to be upfront and let that person know, because that's what's wrong. It's a lot of people out there playing games. So you got to weed them out from the beginning. From the start, you got to, it's like weeding them out. You know, it's all right, date, you're single, you can date, but if you're ready to have something serious, then you need to let that person know, hey, I'm ready for a serious relationship. And if they're not, they need to be upfront with you. And how about this? Like you said, someone being in a relationship for 5 years and you don't know where you stand in a relationship.
But there are people like that. There are people
I know.
who stay in those situations and they become comfortable, and there's never any boundaries of where it's going to go.
And it's like they became complacent and comfortable, like you said, with that situation. But it's so maybe they're not serious, because who in their right mind going to sit around waiting for somebody?
Then I have to come back on that. Our people in their right mind, because some people still stay. So we understand what that wordsmithing that you just did means, because some people are in their right mind and that's what they know. So how do they get out of that situation? How is it going to benefit them to set boundaries? And I see you rotating. Rhonda? Does Utah rotate no?
Yeah, my thing is, you know, people make decisions where they want to be and how they want to do things. So there's something we can't say or judge. So if you okay with being in that situation, more power to you. If that's what you want to do, no one can judge that, because that's your choice. But if you know that you want something more, you do not have to settle for staying in those situations when you can easily say, I don't want to do this anymore, and you know, I want a relationship, I want a family, so I don't want to be a sneaky link for another year. So, but those are decisions that you have to make, and it all begins with a decision that you make for yourself. It doesn't have to really benefit the other person, but you need to let the other person know, I want a family. But you need to, if that person doesn't want a family, then you have to make those decisions. Say, am I willing to sit here and try to wait it out and make him want a family? But if a person tells you they don't want a family, then it's best that you believe that and try to find someone that wants the same things that you want. Because if not, you're going to be 20 years as a sneaky link, and you're going to be done wasted time and energy and money in something that you just settled for. And to me, everybody deserves more than that. If that's what they want, you deserve, and you are worth, and you are valuable enough to have what you truly desire. But like we said before, you have to be honest and upfront with what you want. In order to know what you want, you're gonna have to have some time with yourself to self-reflect, to get it and be honest with it. And if the person leaves, I know it's gonna hurt. I know it's gonna break your heart, but things like that heal. It takes time, but it can heal. And you can have the man that wants a family, that wants kids, that want to move out of state, whatever the situation is, you can have that, but you first have to make a decision and want it for yourself.
But what I want people to understand is you got to have accountability and responsibility for yourself. That's the number one thing. And assessing yourself, because so many of us get into these relationships and then we blame it on the other person.
Oh, yes.
And the one thing is, if we all hold ourselves accountable and responsible for our wrong, you were wrong in getting in that sneaky link relationship. Just say that. I was wrong. You don't necessarily have to put it on them. Oh, they made me do it. Oh, they manipulated me. How did they manipulate you? Did you do an assessment beforehand? They would have manipulated you. What was your assessment? What did you actually do before you actually got into that situation? Or was it just a sneaky link and then it turned into something else later?
Yeah, because some people go on sneaky links. Yeah.
Huh?
Some people go on the sneaky links because of the excitement of it. And then they thinking they can just do it and be okay, but then if you stay in a sneaky link too long, there's some feelings gonna start to involve somewhere.
So then again, what's the accountability and responsibility for getting those feelings?
It's on you.
Yeah. So we all have to hold ourselves accountable in everything that we do and responsible for everything we do. Because the number one thing is, that's what it is. And I think the young girl hit it right on the nail. Why worry about what somebody else doing? Because number one is, especially when you get into a situation, that's two consenting adults, right?
Two consenting adults, yes.
Consenting adults.
Yep.
It's not adults. These are the times you should be talking. We're adults. Let's keep moving. So before we leave, what kind of words of encouragement you want to give our people that's listening? Make sure that you join in every Sunday from 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Sunday Jewels on the Rise. We have topics out of this world. And we will be here every Sunday. And just in case you can't listen to it on every Sunday, you can also go to www.therise.live and actually click on the information. And there you will see all of the archive podcasts there too as well. Leave us with words of encouragement. Thank you, Charlie Burke. Yes, I love these.
My jewel for the week is you don't have to settle. If there's a desire if it's a desire in your heart that you want, and you in any type of relationship, not just a significant other, a friendship, or relationship with your parents, and you know that you're not happy and that's not what you want, it's okay for you not to want the same desires as other people. You do not have to settle, and your purpose may not be understood by others. But know that you are worthy enough and you are valuable enough to have what you want and desire. And you don't have to settle for anything less than that. We all are created differently. We all handle things differently. But the one thing that we all have in common is everybody that's breathing has a purpose. Yes. And your purpose has to be fulfilled one way or the other. And sometimes that may require you leaving friends and relationships and family. Yes. But at the end of the day, know that your purpose and who you are valuable, and you are worth the fight for yourself. So do not settle. Do not settle. It is worth you fighting for what you want and what you need.
And that's my friend, is the bottom line. And we must be able to accept what we cannot change. Right. You have to accept what you cannot change. Especially if you're going into it, accept what you cannot change. You have choices in life. And if that person is willing to change, that's a plus one for you. But understand, celebrate that change with that person too as well. Yep. As we leave here, I just want you guys to know that we all love you. Thank you for the massive followers. Thank you for all of the questions. Thank you for those who came up on the platform and discussed the situation or whatever you was going through and things like that, because this is important for us to have this type of communication and conversation from all around the world. We thank you. We love you. We provide agape love each and every day. As we say, tell a friend, tell a foe, tell your spouse, heck, tell everyone. We'll see you this Sunday and also Tuesday. We're talking about what's your purpose, where we'll be on Podbean Live. Okay? Good night.